Welcome to Mechanical Advantage Garage. I'm Kerry, and I'm going to start this video off with an apology. I don't have any GTO content for this week, and I'm sorry about the late upload. I had a work trip that took me to Chicago that sort of derailed my plans, plus I had a little problem with the daily driver BMW. A $15 bracket was shredding serpentine belts and making the car inoperable. And it turns out there's only one of those brackets left in the country, and it's taken like a week to get. So dealing with that, I didn't have time to work on the GTO. But those of you who know me in real life know that I happen to have a lot of hobbies. You can see behind me I have part of a small collection of Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. I do motorcycles, I do cars, I fly RC airplanes. I used to I take lessons to fly real airplanes, but that I ran out of money for and didn't finish. But in general, I do have a love of a lot of technology things and some cool stuff. So today we're going to talk about how one of my other hobbies, 3D printing, sort of crosses over with my motorcycle and automotive hobby. And I'll show you a really neat project that I've been working on that I think some of you guys will kind of enjoy. Who knows? So stay tuned and we'll see what's going on. So I've been working on this 1978 Yamaha XS650. For those who don't know what the XS650 looks like, it looks like that. They made these bikes from 1970 to about 1980. Well, the manual says 82, but in reality I think they made them until 85. So they had a nice long 15-year run. They're sometimes referred to as the British Bonneville because they were meant to compete with the last of the dying British twins when everything else was going to four-cylinder sport bikes. Yamaha sort of dug in with the parallel twin roadster format, and it worked really well for them. So I got the carburetors in this box here, and while I was waiting on the carb kits for them, I decided to play around with something. These are the stock emblems off the tank, and you can see they're in kind of terrible shape. They're also plastic, interestingly enough. I don't know if you can see, there's a part number right there. But yeah, these are just regular old plastic badges. They go on with 2 screws. These are countersunk holes. And someone had repainted them. It looks like they were black originally and may have had gold lettering, and it looks like they spray painted them silver and blacked out the lettering. Now the bike is black itself, and you'll see it later on. But I didn't like these that much. They're cool and all, but they're kind of boring. And on top of that, I hate advertising for motorcycles on the motorcycle. Like my '86 BMW has BMW or the model number written on it in 7 places, and so I've sort of made it a mission to remove and replace all those badges. So my first thought was, I went on Thingiverse and I 3D printed this. There's a Hot Wheels logo, and I thought about like making a border and putting that here, and then I realized, oh wait a second, I'm just shilling for another company. I thought that was, I don't know. I thought it was a good idea. I thought it would be kind of a funny joke, you know, like this is a full-size Hot Wheels toy. But then I was like, but it's just another brand, and I didn't like it that much. So I decided to come up with a new idea, and I'll show you how I made this. But this is the badge, one of the prototypes that I came up with. You know, rising sun, clouds, kind of a quasi-Japanese military motif, but not actually military. Plus, it's not recalling World War II and thoughts of Imperial Japan and all that. It's just kind of a chill sort of look. I don't know. I like the design. I have to redo the colors so it doesn't look as industrial, I guess is the word. I did all of this in silver just so I could highlight the detailing so you could see the design itself. The problem is this is quite thin. This is only about 3 millimeters. I didn't account for shrinkage on the bed plate. Whereas if you look at the actual Yamaha emblem, it's closer to a full 6 millimeters in thickness. So I went ahead and I beefed it up again And here is the new design, but I haven't painted it yet. And as you can see, this one is considerably thicker than the other one here. See if I can stand these both on end. Yeah. You can see this one's, one is about the thickness of a chocolate bar. The other is, slightly thicker than cardboard. But yeah, I'm going to paint this design and mount it up and see how it looks. Now I did do a mirrored left and right, and actually over here you can see I'm just starting to print the mirror image badge that will go on the opposite side. Now this will take about 2 hours to print. This is my 3D printer. It is a older Creality 10S. It works pretty well, actually. I've been very pleased with this printer. I have not modified it too much. I mean, I did do the support braces. Actually, my friend Jesse printed those for me in ABS, so they're sturdier. But other than that, I didn't update the firmware. This doesn't have a lot of mods. I still manually level the bed. It's been kind of a workhorse printer for me. It makes a lot of cool stuff. Unfortunately, sometimes it also makes piles of plastic. One of the fun things about 3D printing is everything is a little bit of trial and error. And I had some print failures this morning. I didn't get the bed temperature right, and this curled right up off of the bed before it had a chance to really print. You can just see the makings of the design. Also, this had an infill pattern that I didn't really like. The later one, I went to a more circular pattern of infill to sort of help with the circular rising sun theme. I don't know if you can see it like in the back. Well, you can't really. This actually ends up looking like carbon fiber almost because of the weave. But yeah, overall I'm pretty pleased with this. Once I have it fully painted and mounted on the bike, you'll see it's kind of neat. But let me show you like how I went about building this. For anyone thinking about getting into 3D printing, or just looking to just sort of be interested in it and dabble around, there's a site called Thingiverse, and people put up free files to print. Now I found this file here, which was actually a pattern to wood route or CNC route a speaker grill from this individual. This is a Art Deco sort of speaker grill. You put it in your wood routing machine and it would route out the pattern. But it does use a similar model to a 3D model. So downloading this file, I put it into a program called Tinkercad, which we need to refresh. And in Tinkercad, I was able to reverse the image by making the original one a negative and carving it out of a block. Like on the side here, you have all these blocks, and you can put one here, let's say, and then if I want to make a hole in it, I'll take this thing that looks like a hole and put it right in the center, and then I can group these, and there it's made a hole in the block. So that's very cool. And let me delete this before it becomes part of my file. So I did the same thing with the rising sun pattern. The bar that flanks it was literally just a rectangle that I adjusted with the settings. And these other little hash mark design patterns, they're actually text. It's the equal sign that I adjusted to size and then repeated over and over again to create an evenly spaced pattern. And you can, this isn't the original working file. If I go to the original working file, we can sort of dissect it and you can take a look. Okay, so here I have the two mirror image files you can see, but these are actually dissected files. I can actually take these apart. The orange is one item and is a shape that I can group or ungroup with the other shapes. Same thing with this down here. So you can see that I was able to reverse that CNC speaker grill image from Thingiverse to create the center badge. From there, we move into a program called Cura. Now, Cura is your slicer. You can use, I use Cura. People can use Prusa slicer. There's actually a bunch of free slicers out there. This one I happen to like a lot. But basically, this will set your print settings, and it'll write what's known as G code, which is the code to tell your printer how to move around and print the object. And from this, you'll export it. And I use a SD card into your printer, and you end up with it printing something like this. Now, you might think that 3D printing is just for making a lot of tchotchkes like keychains or badges and stuff like that, but there's actually a lot of cool stuff on here. For instance, here's a file to turn a AMT 1/25th scale plastic model kit into a full working RC car. Here are some printable GTO bodies, but you know, some emblems. But here you start to see, oh, there's a retaining clip. Here's a floor mat retainer. If we go on to the second page here, I think I saw something for my 67 GTO. I think it's on the next page here. Let me find, here it is. So someone here has, a lot of times the plastic surrounds on the 66 and 67 GTOs will crack and break, and then the housing itself breaks. You can epoxy the housing back together, but it's hard to make a repair on this mounting tab. So here somebody has actually gone ahead and printed or designed these mounting tabs so that you can repair your broken tab with this epoxy so that you can bolt your grills back into the car. And I think that that's kind of neat. I don't know about how you feel about it, but I think that's a useful thing if you're restoring an old car. And there's also a lot of other interesting stuff here. Here's a 3000 GT oil cap. Yeah, there's another keychain. So there's a lot of neat stuff if you look around on Thingiverse. And it's all free files. You can just download them. And if you have a 3D printer, you can print them. Now, my 3D printer setup didn't cost me a lot. It is kind of an older model. I did buy this new. I got this 3 years ago now, right before the pandemic, actually. And I think they sell for around 200 bucks now, this same model. And it's been a very reliable one. This is the 10S, which is the bigger model. It has a very big build plate. There is another model called the Ender from Creality that uses a build plate that's about 2 inches smaller in all directions. But yeah, I think I got this one from Micro Center. Actually, it was a birthday present. And it was right around $200, which isn't that bad for, you know, I've spent way more on way more useless stuff in this hobby. So I found this actually kind of useful. I've printed quite a few things that have been helpful to me. But yeah, let's go take those emblems to the bike and see about matching them up and how it's going to look. This is the 1978 XS650 that I'm making the badges for. And you probably won't see a lot of this on my channel because the owner of this bike really doesn't want to make a whole video series of working on this motorcycle. But now that I have the badges here, let me mount them up and see how they look. Just for reference, here's the old badge in its location. It's not terrible looking, it's just kind of plain and boring, and I don't really like advertising for companies even when it's their bike. So I'm just gonna get rid of this and let me put the new badge on. So here we have the badge all mounted up, and I have to say, look at how cool that is. I was actually kind of worried about the curvature of the tank not matching the badge, but actually it looks like it works out perfectly. It actually has a nice look to it, and you know, real nice vintage style. I did print this in PLA, so I don't expect it to have much longevity. I think in a future video, what I'm going to do is probably try my hand at casting it in pewter and then polishing it, and then I can touch it up with some paint, and that'll make it look well, first of all, it'll be a metal badge at that point, but it'll also make it look more like a piece of jewelry. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with how this looks. For not that much time and very little money, I think I got a nice, you know, custom option for this bike. So I think whoever has it is going to be thrilled. Yeah, so now to mount the other side. So here we can see I have the other side mounted up. Now there is a little bit of edging here that sticks a little proud, but I figure I'll get a hairdryer on it and I can get it sort of pushed in and against the tank. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with the end results. So that's it for another episode of Mechanical Advantage Garage. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I do with my 3D printer when I can't get parts for the GTO and I'm working on my other motorcycle stuff. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've had as much fun as I have, because this was a lot of fun for me. I will have GTO content for next week, or some kind of automotive content. Hoping it's GTO stuff. But anyway, click like, click subscribe. If you like this video, get at me in the comments. If you don't like the video, get at me in the comments. And don't forget, like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and I'll see you next episode.